I'm Professor Jeremy Chataway. I'm Professor of Neurology at the National Hospital for Neurology, Queen's Square, University College London, and I'm the Chief Investigator of the Octopus trial. In this video I'm going to talk to you about how we put it together, how we designed it, and I'm hoping that this will help you decide if taking part in the Octopus trial is something that you'd like to do. Of course, there's a lot of extra information in the patient information leaflet and talking to your local trial team.
What is multiple sclerosis?
So multiple sclerosis is an immune inflammation of the central nervous system, that's the brain and the spinal cord. And in the early stages, people have attacks, and we call these relapses. But we know that over time, in some people, it becomes more progressive, and the problems that they have remain with them. And we call this secondary progressive multiple sclerosis. There's also a smaller form called primary progressive multiple sclerosis, particularly people beginning in their mid-40s, where the conditions gradually get worse. So put together, we have secondary and primary progressive multiple sclerosis, and we call those together progressive multiple sclerosis.
What is the aim of the Octopus trial?
So in relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis, there are many medications that have become available over the last 20 or 30 years, and it's been an enormous success story. Unfortunately, in progressive multiple sclerosis, we're just at the beginning of that journey, and there are a couple of medications which will be available for some people with progressive multiple sclerosis, and you may be familiar with those, ocrelizumab or siponimod. However, they're not the whole story, and for a number of people, perhaps many people with progressive multiple sclerosis, they won't be useful as a treatment. They particularly look to treat new inflammation, patches of inflammation. And so that's why we really need a brand new effort to develop new medications to have an effect, a neuroprotective effect, or even a regenerative effect on progressive multiple sclerosis. And that's the whole aim of this work, the Octopus trial. And here we're particularly interested in medications which are used for other purposes. And this is called a repurposing of medication. You may be familiar, in fact, with repurposing without you knowing it. When we think about aspirin, aspirin's a very good painkiller, and it was originally designed for that. But now, around the world, we use it much more commonly after the treatments of heart attack and stroke. And that's a repurposing of aspirin. So part of the Octopus trial is to use repurposed drugs as we go forward, but we'll also be looking for the best drugs that we can find available over these years of the Octopus trial.
Who can take part in the Octopus trial?
The trial is for people with progressive multiple sclerosis between the ages of 25 and 70, so a nice broad age range, and with both primary and secondary progressive multiple sclerosis, and a feeling before coming into trial that that person is slowly getting worse. So people with progressive multiple sclerosis are exactly the sort of people we'd like to offer this trial to.
What happens in a clinical trial that has a placebo or dummy drug?
Clinical trials are very common in medicine to determine if new, exciting treatments work or don't work, and also to look at the side effects. And so what would happen is that everyone would be on their existing best standard of care, and then they will be given the medication or dummy medication, but they would look exactly the same, and a person would take a capsule typically once or twice a day. But neither they nor their doctors and their nurses and their trial team will know what they're on, so that we don't have any bias that could affect the ultimate result. And therefore we have a true comparison about whether the new medication is better than the standard medication.
What is randomisation in a clinical trial?
When you've gone through the screening process of the trial and you're getting ready to start the medication, we do a special process we call randomisation. And this is really important to make sure that all the different parts of the trial are balanced up. And so there'll be, if you like, an electronic roll of the dice to see if you're on the medications we're testing out or on the control or placebo part of the trial. Now, I must emphasise everyone will be on the very best standard of care going through this trial. You'll never be disadvantaged. What we're doing is testing whether these new medications are better than the dummy medication.
What happens in the first stage of the Octopus trial?
In the first stage of this trial, people entering the trial will be given an MRI scan. Now, MRI scans, as I'm sure you all know, are very important in diagnosing multiple sclerosis, but here we're using them to follow people in trial to look at the effects of the treatment. What we're looking at particularly is the volume, if you like, the shape of the brain. Now, in all of us, the brain shrinks a little bit, and in multiple sclerosis a little bit more than compared to a person who doesn't have multiple sclerosis. When everyone's had their MRI scans, then we'll do the comparison of those that were on the dummy treatment with those that were on the new treatments that we're testing. And we'll see if the new treatments have reduced that very small rate of shrinkage. And if they do, then we'll carry on with those medications in the trial. If they don't, that will give us the sign that they won't be taken forward in trial. And that's what we call the stage 1 of this trial.
What happens if the Octopus treatment does not show benefit to the participants?
After the interim MRI analysis, if you happen to be on a treatment that doesn't show an effect, then firstly you'll stop that treatment as guided by the trial team. But then in fact, after a 6-month period, if you want to carry on with the trial and you fulfill the current entry criteria into the trial, then you can be rescreened to continue to take part in the Octopus trial process. And that's something we've worked very hard together with the UK MS Society and expert patients who've helped us so much in the design of this trial.
What happens if the Octopus treatment does show benefit to the participants?
If your treatment passes the interim MRI stage, then of course you'll stay on that treatment for up to about 5 years. And here we'll be concentrating on ability, that is looking at your walking and your arms and your eyes and your balance as we go through this stage of the trial process. As well, in this second stage, this stage 2, more and more people will be invited to take part in the Octopus trial.
How have people with MS shaped the Octopus trial?
Patient and public involvement has been absolutely fundamental to the design of this trial, together with the UK MS Society, both in terms of, if you like, the character of the trial and how it would be to be in the trial, but also what we're doing in the trial and what we're measuring and the eventual outcomes. Hopefully you found this video useful. We've also produced a video on frequently asked questions with Jane, and Jane, I'm pleased to say, is taking part in the Octopus trial. For any more questions, please contact your local trial team and read the patient information leaflet.